Welcome everyone to Disexplainer. As your CMA professor, I am absolutely thrilled to guide you from the purely theoretical world of internal controls straight onto the actual real-world testing battlefield. Okay, let's dive right in. Here is our quick syllabus for today's masterclass. We're going to cover reality versus paper controls, unpack the 4 testing methods, look at dual-purpose efficiency, tackle some specific exam strategy, and finish up with our final takeaways. This whole flow is designed to give you the exact logic you need to confidently crush those tricky, scenario-based questions on your exam. Section 1. Reality versus paper controls. Let's talk about the massive gap between what management designs in the boardroom and what actually goes down on the warehouse floor. I always challenge my students with this fundamental question. Does this actually work in reality, or is it just a fairy tale? Because let's be totally honest here. Beautiful flowcharts and perfectly written, ironclad policies, well, they're just paper fairy tales until an auditor steps in to prove they actually function in the real world. Think about the huge difference between management's design, which is that paper fairy tale, and the auditor's reality, which is all about execution and verification. The ICMA heavily tests how we verify these controls for one simple reason. A control is absolutely useless if the execution fails in reality. You really have to put on your auditor hat to pass this section. And that brings us to Section 2, the 4 testing methods. Let's crack open the auditor's toolkit. We are going to climb what I like to call the evidence escalator. We'll be ranking the 4 primary tools you absolutely must know: inquiry, observation, inspection, and reperformance, literally starting from the least persuasive at the bottom all the way up to the absolute gold standard of evidence at the top. So step 1, at the very bottom of our escalator, is inquiry. Simply put, this is just talking to people. You ask them how processes like verifying timesheets are handled. Now, why does this sit at the very bottom? Well, inquiry is never sufficient on its own. Never. Why? Because people are naturally going to tell you what they think you want to hear, or what the manual says they're supposed to do, not what actually happens on a chaotic Tuesday afternoon when everyone's rushing. Moving one step up, we have observation. This means actively watching an employee perform the control in real time. Think of watching a warehouse manager physically lock an inventory cage at the end of a shift. But there is a catch. It falls victim to the Hawthorne effect. You know human nature. People behave significantly better when they know they're being watched. So observation really only proves the control worked at that exact second you were standing there in the room with a clipboard. Let's keep climbing. Now we're getting into much stronger evidence with inspection. This method involves examining documents, system logs, and signatures to find historical proof of compliance. Instead of just watching someone once, you pull a sample, say 25 purchase orders, and you verify the physical or digital signatures on every single one of them. This gives us a solid, undeniable paper trail over a period of time. It's concrete. And finally, at the very top of our escalator is reperformance, the absolute gold standard of evidence. This is, without a doubt, the most persuasive and powerful method in your entire toolkit. Here, the auditor doesn't just ask, watch, or read. No, they roll up their sleeves and independently execute the procedure themselves to see if they get the exact same result. Let's look at how this actually plays out in the real world. Imagine you have a control where your accounting software is supposed to flag any invoice over $10,000. For your auditor's test, you intentionally input a fake invoice for $10,001. The proof? The system actually blocks or flags that specific transaction. If you intentionally trigger a control limit yourself and the system responds correctly, boom, you have definitive, absolute proof that the control works. Moving right along to Section 3, dual-purpose testing efficiency. As management accountants, you know we absolutely love efficiency. So this is a massive exam favorite. When we execute a test of control, we're checking the process and the rules, right? Like, did the supervisor actually sign off? But when we do a substantive test, we're checking the actual numbers and dollars. Is the math correct? Well, a dual-purpose test expertly combines both on the exact same sample. You check the supervisor's signature to verify the process, and you simultaneously recalculate the sales tax on that invoice to verify the mathematical accuracy. It saves time, it saves money, and let me tell you, the ICMA loves testing you on efficient financial management. All right, Section 4, Exam Strategy and Application. It is time to put this into practice. Here is your golden exam rule. Etch this into your brain. The higher the risk of a control failing, the more persuasive the testing method needs to be.
Literally, if a control is designed to prevent a multi-million-dollar fraud, low-level methods like inquiry or observation simply are not going to cut it. For high-risk areas, you must bring out the heavy hitters, inspection or reperformance. Keep this rule in your back pocket for test day.
Let's look at a practice question together and evaluate our options using our evidence escalator. The question asks, which testing method provides the most reliable and persuasive evidence that an automated control prevents unauthorized users from altering the company's master vendor file?
Let's break these options down like a true auditor. Option A, inquiring with the IT director. Well, that gives us verbal confirmation, but absolutely no proof. We know that's weak. Option B, inspecting the written IT policy manual. That just tells us what should happen. It's that paper fairy tale all over again. Option D, observing the system administrator log in. That doesn't test unauthorized access at all, does it? It just proves the admin knows how to log into their own account.
So that leaves us with the correct answer, option C, specifically, actively attempting to log in with an unauthorized user account. This is known as the test deck approach, which is a classic form of reperformance. By actively attempting to breach the control yourself, you're getting the highest, most definitive level of assurance because you are proving the system's defenses actually hold up against a real simulated threat. Which brings us to Section 5, Final Review and Takeaways. Before you head back to your study guides and test banks, let's bring this all together. On the lower level of the evidence hierarchy, we have inquiry and observation, giving us temporary, verbal, or moment-in-time assurance, good but not great. Then we have our heavy hitters, inspection and reperformance, providing concrete, historical, and system-wide proof. Just always remember to match your testing method to the risk. Choose the heavy hitters for areas that demand objective, verifiable evidence. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Whenever you face a tricky control question on the CMA exam, do not let the paperwork confuse you. Take a breath, stop, and ask yourself, which option provides undeniable proof that the system works when no one is looking? Keep that critical question in mind for every exam scenario. Study smart, and you will absolutely conquer this topic. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy studying!